What if I told you that the world's tallest abandoned building was started as a vanity project? Well, that probably wouldn't surprise very many people, but what if I told you where it is? Again, probably not a surprise, but it may be news to some of you. But the world's tallest abandoned building is in North Korea, or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, as they like to call themselves. The Hermit Kingdom is ruled by Kim Jong-un. So this is the story of the Rugyong Hotel, which remains the world's tallest abandoned building, and I cannot imagine anybody taking its place anytime soon. The Rugyong Hotel construction was conceived and began in 1988, and this was in response to a hotel that was built in Singapore called the Westin Stamford Hotel. Westin Stamford was the world's tallest hotel at the time, and it was built by a South Korean company. And so this building had topped out in this building had been built and completed in 1987. And so North Korea and Kim Jong-il, the dictator at the time, decided that, well, we can't have South Korea having the world's tallest hotel. We need to build it ourselves. Well, so the Rugyong construction was started in 1988. It was topped out in 1992. The building has 105 stories, 3 underground floors, which represents underground parking, and the building was topped out in 1992, and by and large, this is the state in which it has remained ever since. The building stood for over a decade without any exterior at all. This did not change until 2008, when a glass exterior was placed on the exterior to make it look like a completed building, but the inside has never been occupied. Not a single guest has ever stayed there, and the intended completion in 1992 was supposed to coincide with Kim Il-sung's 80th birthday. And then it was also intended to be opened in 2012, which would have coincided with 2012, which would have coincided with Kim Il-sung's 100th birthday. Kim Il-sung was the first dictator and founder of North Korea. This building then in 2018 got one final addition, which was a LED display on one side of the tower. And this LED display, unsurprisingly, shows propaganda. And so it's a 105-story hotel that was never a hotel, and not a single person has ever stayed in it, and has basically become the world's tallest propaganda piece, which is not a surprise coming from the country that also created the world's tallest flagpole as propaganda in the Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. And so the Rugyong Hotel has never been utilized for its original purpose at all. Orascom is a company, an Egyptian company, that actually finished the exterior for them, and also had a cellular contract with them to build a 3G network in North Korea in 2018. They say that the two contracts have nothing to do with each other, but you figure out for yourself they probably do. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. For them to finish the exterior of the building and then build a 3G network in South Korea, which, as I understand it, is still used today as part of their internal cell phone network. North Koreans do have cell phones, but they have no connection to the outside world. You cannot make an international call. You can only use it for internal connections, and their smartphones connect to their internal internet, which is basically from North Korea only. A network which only has websites that are either fully approved by the Kim Jong-il government or I keep getting the Kims mixed up, all three of them, the Kim Jong-un government and websites that are approved by his government only or run by his government. No external access whatsoever. So that is the Rugyong Hotel in a nutshell. And by the way, once it was physically topped out in 1992, of course it dominated the Pyongyang skyline, but in their embarrassment, obviously North Korea does what North Korea does, and it's make itself look as good as possible to everybody. On its postage stamps from 1988 to 1992, their postage stamps had the Rugyong Hotel on them. However, after 1992, all stamps and all pictures of Pyongyang had the tower blotted out and completely digitally removed from any pictures of the city, to the point where residents of Pyongyang would be like, what tower? To them it didn't exist, even though it's sitting right in front of their face. But such is the power of a dictatorship that controls all information and all knowledge in the country, to the point where people could be standing right next to this 105-story behemoth and be like, what hotel? What building? Even if they could be standing right in the shadow, literally. The Rugyong has never been used for hotel purposes, and when Orascom and Corail Tours, their tour company, did have some pictures on the interior in 2008, but it showed no fixtures, bare concrete, and the elevator shafts were basically crooked. And to this date, it is widely believed that the concrete is basically unrecoverable. The concrete is so faulty that it is unusable. The building will never be completed, it will never be used, and it will never be opened, despite their fake announced openings on several occasions. The current hotels for tourists in Pyongyang include the Corail Hotel and the Rugyong Hotel, which is also the hotel where the infamous I believe it's Otto Warmbier incident occurred at the Yangakdo Hotel. There's also the Rugyong, which is unoccupied, never will be, and the Corail Hotel, which is the oldest one that they have, but the Rugyong has never been amongst them. If you're an American and you want to see this, you can't. Our own State Department has banned travel to North Korea. You cannot go even if you wanted to, and ever since the pandemic in 2020, the DPRK has also banned Americans from traveling to their country as well. So the ban goes both ways. So this is the story of the Rugyong Hotel, the world's tallest and biggest abandoned building, and the world's biggest abandoned hotel that's never been used. So anyhow, that's it for now. Hope you had a good Monday. Wasn't too bad here. You folks, I'll see you tomorrow, and peace out, homies.